Okay, hello everyone, and we're back at the Over the Rainbow Bonspiel 2025. This is Wesley Forget. I'm joined here by Joey Taylor. We're going to be your commentators this evening. I hope you've been following along so far and ready for some C event quarterfinal action. And today we've got Team Kennedy taking on the Disco Draw Daddies. Joey, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Joey Taylor, and I am the participant in this Bonspiel along with Wes here. So my teammate and I are going to commentate this game, and we're looking forward to it.
All right, the game is already well underway, and so we've got Team Kennedy throwing the red stones, and the Disco Draw Daddies are playing yellow. So it looks like the Team Kennedy has the hammer, and we've already been set off with the Disco Draw Daddies setting up for a steal here, trying to get their center guard up, and everyone trying to wrap around and make that race to the forefoot off to a nice start here in the first end.
So at second on Team Disco Daddies, we have Darren Lewis, who is from Toronto and who won the Statistics Canada curling tournament in his first year of curling, and he's been curling for 5 years.
Wow. No, I don't doubt his skill. I actually had the pleasure of sparring for this team a couple times because they are members of the Rainbow Rockers Curling League here in Ottawa. And yeah, he's a very accomplished curler and skilled player for not a lot of experience, like he said. So I would expect him to be able to play some stones here well for Team Disco Draw Daddies.
And the Disco Draw Daddies are only 3 tonight. Unfortunately, their lead is 6, so he had to pull out. So they'll see if they can work some of the magic with 3 of them.
Yeah, that's never something that you want to see going into the playoffs, but you never know. We had a Briar win, and not in the last 5 years, where a team of 3 won with a sickness. So hopefully they can take advantage of that extra thrown rock at the front end positions.
The team wanted to wish Brad to feel better and hope he's back tomorrow in the lineup.
And hopefully he's able to watch the stream. So for Team Kennedy, I believe we just had James throw, playing second for the team today. Born and raised in Ottawa, so was a local, but then moved to Toronto for school and never left. They started curling in Toronto at the suggestion of a friend. It's always great to see a referral. That's mostly how the sport grows. Like, oh, come try curling, and then we trap people for life. And interestingly enough, they're an architect.
Wow.
So maybe they can help us redesign the Ottawa Curling Club. All right, what do we got going on in the house here?
Yeah, it seems like yellow's lying 1 and throwing. The third on Disco Daddies is Martin Lajoie, who is from the eastern townships of Ottawa, actually. He's been curling for 13 years, and funny enough, he just flew in from Rio for this tournament. So
that's commitment right there.
That is commitment.
I feel like I said who has the hammer, but you always have to do a double check. I think Team Kennedy has the hammer, so Skip Scott McCampbell here is going to try to preserve that yellow rock that's back button and maybe try to set up a steal.
Rub a bit on that one.
Yeah. Might have left a little hit and roll or an opportunity here for Team Kennedy to kind of open things up and make sure they have access to the scoring area. Right now things are a little bit busy in the middle, so they want to make use of some of those corner guards they've got up. Okay, so a little bit of debate here from Team Kennedy. They're trying to figure out what their best course of action is. I used to have a coach when I was growing up, and they were said, when in doubt, hit something.
That's good advice.
Yeah, when you get at a higher level, you don't have as much time to kind of think about all the options. And so if you're ever at a little bit of a loss, maybe hitting one of your opposition rocks is usually a good idea.
I think that's what they're playing now.
Definitely. It looks like some normal takeout weight here. Maybe try to remove that top yellow and roll away from the center line to just open up that forefoot, expose that yellow rock. That's shot rock back button right now.
Okay, so opens things up a bit.
Yep.
Took away the in off though with that result.
Yeah, I think mission accomplished with that shot.
Absolutely.
Now McCambly has to kind of think about how they're going to wrestle that red that's top yellow. They could try to hit it through the hole. Oh, they're going to call the freeze. So again, their objective here is to try to steal and make Team Kennedy throw against maybe a couple, put a point on the board in the first end, but nothing major, no big 3s or 4s to start things off.
From the intern here.
Hanging out there a little bit. Oh, we can see the sweeper switch sides, so they can try to get maybe some
Bit
extra
more
curl out of that. Oh, they've switched back. They've switched the call. They're going to try to draw around everything and maybe sit second. Oh, it's just heavy. Might go by everything. Yeah. Yeah, it looked like Team McKinley tried to switch the call there to make something out of it. But unfortunately, it was just that perfect storm of just missing the tight one, just missing the wide one, and being a little heavy. So now Team Kennedy definitely has an opportunity here to kind of split the top red. And what that's going to achieve is, one, this rock that's being thrown right now by Bruce is going to be underneath the corner guards, and then they're kind of tap that red back and maybe freeze it to the back yellow stone. That's back 8 as we're looking at it here.
To hold this for line, I think.
Yeah, we don't want to miss everything. There could be...
Oh,
this looks really
hole?
good, actually. It's just a little
Oh.
Uh-oh. Probably just a little bit too much weight for that shot. A lot of curlers, like when they think about a tap, they think about, I have to throw it so much harder to get the rocks to move. But in that case, you only need to move that rock about 4 feet. You can throw regular T-line weight, and your sweeper can probably make up an extra 2 to 3 feet. And so something that we would always encourage all newer players to think about is, like, when you're throwing a draw or a bumper or a tap, you don't really need to add that much more to get the rocks to move. They will bounce and kind of ricochet off each other by virtue of their design. So
right.
You don't need as much power there.
So Martin is trying again to play a draw, I think. Just top 12, I think was the call.
Yeah, just get in front of that one. That's back button. Because it's going to be yellow rocks in front of yellow rocks, there's not going to be a lot of opportunity for red to get in there, but this is also heavy again.
It's a bit heavy, yeah.
I wonder if things are a little quicker tonight than the players are used to, and everyone's coming up a little bit heavy in that first end.
The ice has been fantastic all week. Really keen and lots of curls, so that's always nice to see as a player.
Yeah. I'm wondering if we have an ice-specific sponsor. I think it's a good time to thank Eric Sangster Mortgages. They're the platinum sponsor this week at the Bonspiel. And the sheet specifically is also sponsored by the TD Bank.
Yes,
and so we thank them for their support,
Absolutely.
ongoing support the last couple of years of the event. Actually, I'll ad-lib that Eric Sangster supports my competitive men's team. And so we're very grateful for his support, because it's it takes a lot to both run a Bonspiel or form a curling team. And so we do rely on local friendly sponsors to help us out.
It was a great shot here by the third on Team Kennedy with a hit and roll.
Yeah, things are looking very different than they did 4 or 5 shots ago, where Team Kennedy was kind of trying their best to open things up, have a chance to score. Now they've got a red rock that's pretty much cannot be removed because it's frozen on the side of that yellow, and if it gets hit, it should just redirect back onto the other yellow.
So Scott's looking to throw a bit of a heavier draw here to freeze on it or bump it and rearrange the angles a bit for him.
Yeah, if he can hit the nose or maybe just cross the face a tiny little bit, he can kind of free up that back yellow, and then his rock will be directly on top of the red, and then that red will have nothing behind it to preserve it. And so Team Kennedy will be in a little bit of trouble. They might be looking at 3 or 4 on their last shot.
Yeah, especially if this is made.
Yeah.
So Scott was actually born in Calgary. He says that he's 90% retired for curling, but had started curling in high school, and he won the Ottawa High School Boys Championship.
Oh, wow.
He didn't say what year that was, but...
Well, it's probably like 2005, not too long ago.
The line looks pretty nice on this one. The weight's there.
Yep. Darren's going to get a nice little workout today, being the only sweeper out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's going to hope his team is pretty close on everything. The weight looks actually really good. It's just over-curled a bit.
Just over-curled a bit.
It's still in the way.
Yeah. Not easy to get another red in there.
Yes, exactly. They've accomplished that mission of shrinking the scoring area, so red in order to get another win in there, kind of has to draw within a perfect rock space right above their own red and sit right there to sit 2-shot. And there won't be an opportunity to get any more than 2, that's for sure. So I'm going to have to get creative here. I wonder if they're thinking about chasing that rock. So that yellow rock that was just thrown by Scott, maybe we can bump that back and sit right in front of it.
Yeah.
And then we may be able to promote that stone on the last.
For your 2, yeah.
Yeah, 2, maybe 3 if you can bump this yellow far enough, but we'll see what they decide on here. And before the game, Team Kennedy was asked to fill out a little, bio sheet, and it sounds like they're a relatively new team. We asked them what their strangest or most unintended shot was before the game, and they're still waiting for that to happen. So maybe it'll happen tonight, and we'll have a big, rewatchable moment that they can go back and laugh about, make a reel, maybe post it on TikTok, that kind of thing. Right. While I was talking, I didn't really notice what shot they landed on, but this does look like the ice for the draw to the button. A little tap on the red, yeah.
Yeah.
And the skip of Team Kennedy is Sheldon. Hasn't shared too many details other than he's been curling for about 17 years.
A longtime member of the Riverdale Curling League in Toronto.
Oh, perfect, yeah.
The line on this is also very nice.
Yeah, looks like it's going to have been there pretty good. They're a little bit skeptical of the weight. They haven't put a broom to it yet. Now they're going on it.
It's very close.
Oh, wow, look at this. This might be your most outstanding, most difficult shot of your team's career right here.
Wow. Great shot. That is not going anywhere.
No. Yowza, you could not have picked that up and placed it in a better spot. Campbell's now looking to see maybe if they can throw peel and hammer all of this.
Yeah.
And get the top red through the hole, and maybe they did bump that back yellow just ever so slightly. So I wonder if they hit it in the right spot, both reds could leave the 8-foot, and maybe Team McCamley could be sitting 1 or 2. Well, we're about to find out.
Fairly thin with peel weight.
Yeah, you don't want to hit too much of it. That top red's not going to go anywhere. You know what? The nose hit. Is that a bad outcome? I don't think there's a shot for 2 if you make that. Like if they end up just hitting this on the nose, the back red goes for sure, and then your shooter is going to be kind of like a guard.
Yeah, for them to access the button.
It's going to be a good force. Yeah, so it's got a lot of good outcomes here. Maybe that's the best shot too. Okay, he's got a piece of the red. So he's going to hit something. Something will happen. We're going to find out if that top red will go. Let's see if it squeezes through that hole. Go. Nice.
Oh, great shot by Scott.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the yellow top 4. I'm guessing Team Kennedy's going to see if they can curl up to the nose past the guard and punch it straight back and get their 2 that way.
Yeah.
It looks very difficult from where we're sitting.
They'll need like back 8 weight on this, though. They'll have to throw a bullet.
Yes, this goes back to our earlier comment where they did try a tap and threw all that weight on their own, and then the rock didn't curl as much, whereas now, because it is partially buried, they do need a bit of that extra finish after they get past the guard, so the weight selection will be very important here.
Yep.
All right, we're just making sure our rock is nice and clean before we throw. An interesting little tidbit I can share about the cleaning of the rock. Little bits of debris can build up on the ice, and your rock can go over it and pick it up, and it'll kind of stick to the rock a little bit. So the thrower will also always clean the rock before they throw. And if you don't spin the rock after you clean it, you can actually make your rock run a little bit slower when you throw it. So you always have to remember to spin your rock if you run your hand or your glove against it. And we don't like this throw. We've already turned around. We think we're heavy and wide, and we're going to coast by everything. Yeah.
Good try, though, by Sheldon.
Yeah.
So mission accomplished for Disco Draw Daddies.
Absolutely.
With steal of 1.
Mm-hmm. So Team Kennedy will retain the hammer going into the second end. And they're going to, if they're an established team, which we know they're not, they would be telling each other, you know what, good force there. And reframing what just happened, talking about how they did a good job to only force the other team to one. Imagine they had the hammer. That's a mission accomplished. And they can go into this next end feeling, ready to go instead of like, oh, how did we miss that last shot?
Yeah.
Some simple reframing is always really helpful to competition.
Especially this early in the game.
Yes. So it looks like the Disco Draw Daddies are gonna disco ball their way into a center guard here. They're trying to force play to the middle, so they're gonna, as long as they don't have the hammer, they're gonna try to tighten up the scoring area with that center guard. And in response, Team Kennedy has Scott Eckford throwing lead. And Scott is coming at us from Toronto as well. He started curling when he was 7 years old. And he actually has the trifecta. He has a bronze, silver, and gold medal from the varsity curling provincial playoffs, playing for the University of Toronto.
Oh, wow, good for him.
Fun fact, I remember playing against him. I think we're the same age. We did play a little bit of junior curling against each other. I probably haven't seen him in about 15 years.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah.
You never know who you're going to run into.
Curling just brings us all together.
Exactly.
And Scott's been playing for 28 years. Wow.
It's a lot of rocks thrown.
And he'll probably be upset with that result, being a little bit late, throwing another center guard. So Team McCambly is salivating now. They're just going to start looping draws around that. And because of the 5-rock free guard zone, no tick rule, those guards are going to stay there for some time. Certainly the yellow one.
So there's no tick rule in this.
There's no tick rule.
No tick rule.
Noted.
So you can move the middle.
Okay. It's an important strategy for me as I come into play my first game tonight.
Into playoffs, too. It's a great job by Darren here.
This will be...
Just top button.
Yeah.
T-line. Yeah, great throw. Back button. Yeah.
Yeah, they're okay with that. It's tough to remove. It shrinks the scoring area. And, once this freeze is made by Team Kennedy, if Team McCambly freezes again, there's just everything's all locked down.
Yeah, you got to look at opening up.
Yeah, even though that shot's behind the T-line, it's not bad because they're the non-hammer team. They've still accomplished the mission of getting a rock buried in the forefoot.
This throw looked a little tight out of his hand, but because of the positive rotation that Scott puts on his rock,
yes,
they were able to really manage that rock well, and look at this result.
Wow. Yeah, you'll notice that it got much closer to the center guard than Team McCambly's rock, but it actually ended up in the same spot.
Yep.
And so the sweepers were able to manage that by virtue of how much rotation it had, and they can sort of clean it and keep it on that line the whole way, and then if they wanted to curl, they could have let it do so. We are seeing more and more teams, and at the elite level, they are advocating for more rotation because you can just manage the stone a little bit better. So Scott clearly is plugged into that, sees the benefits of more rotation.
Yeah, that's probably the best piece of advice for beginner curlers, to actually put a lot more rotation on their stones if they can.
Yep.
Because it just makes the throw more predictable.
Absolutely.
Looks a bit heavy from Darren on this one. Might tick it. Ooh. So A great opportunity to freeze right back on top of that red if he would like to. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, James will just look to follow down that rock of Scott's. Just cap it off, cover off the button. And then Team McCambly might be looking at raising or peeling some of those guards so they have access to try to bump and move some things around. See if our architect can design something good here.
Well played. This also looks a bit heavy.
A little heavy, a little less rotation, so it might catch and grab and curl. They might get a little bit of help from the curl and slow it down. It should stop in the rings. It's buried around everything.
Yeah.
Okay, Scott's going to switch to the out turn now. He's going to throw the draw the other way. Maybe he thinks the in turn isn't as accessible.
Yeah, or that this side curls a bit more.
There's always a bunch of things that go into shot selection. Who's throwing, what the path is doing, what end is it. And so maybe they know something that we don't know yet about this side of the sheet. Yeah, getting a little more curl. The other interesting element would be just the angle that the red is frozen on the yellow. So if they can keep their yellow on the side of the broom that Scott has his broom on right now, that side of the rock, they can kind of have an easier way of getting that red out of the rings. This one looks to be heavy again.
Just a bit heavy for Martin on this one. It's a busy night here at the Over the Rainbow Bonspiel with Emma Miskew currently doing her talk and Q&A, and then karaoke tonight. So it's a packed house. So if you're at home and watching this on the stream and you want to see great live curling, you should come down to the Ottawa Curling Club.
Yep, nicely, conveniently located in downtown Ottawa.
But if you are at home in your PJs and watching the stream, it's really thanks to TD Bank. We're sponsoring this sheet.
Well, whenever we bring up TD Bank, someone makes a really good shot. So we're sponsoring talent and the sheet tonight. So Team Kennedy was able to lock on that red, and they're looking very good now to score a multiple point end and bounce back from that steal in the first.
Yeah, that was a really great shot.
Oh no, they'll just wreck on the guard.
Bring that deep, you can play off of it later. That's
yes, it's close enough to the center line that it could be promoted on an angle and kind of. The good thing about how those reds are stacked for the yellow team is that there's a lot of surface area. When you're coming in at an angle raise, you can hit either of them anywhere, and you'll get them both kind of moving off the forfeit, and that's going to be their first mission here, to try to open up the scoring area and eliminate some of those red stones. So this is Bruce throwing third rocks for Team Kennedy. He actually grew up in Saskatchewan. He's a prairie fairy, he says. So he's
I love that.
Bringing in some of that Saskatchewan luck. Started curling at 12 years old, and then moved to Toronto, lives there now.
Oh, gonna play the wick. Oh no.
Ooh. Okay. Nothing really ended up changing there.
Almost picked off the top yellow to come.
Yeah. So Scott stands at a bit of a crossroads here for Team McCambly. They're trying to weigh if throwing another draw is worth it to try to close off the scoring area and just bump things around, or is it at that point of the end where they need to bail and make sure that Team Kennedy gets no more than two?
So this is your third's last rock without hammer. What would you play? Would you open the middle? Would you come around what he's playing?
Well, I mean, you would be my third in this situation of like, oh, Joey's got it. He's going to glue this freeze on, and then I'm going to play the angle runner on my last, and we're going to be sitting 2 and have a little laugh. And I know I do think the draw is the right shot here just because they've thrown it a bunch of times. You would expect your player to have made that adjustment to kind of be in the top half of the house, but this does look heavy again.
Just to curl a bit, or...
And might touch the top one and improve the situation. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a bit of a pocket now.
Yep. So that's an acceptable outcome, and they might have even opened up the in-turn draw, freeze or taps to, get away from this end and not give up any more than 2. But right now, definitely looking at 3 or 4 for Team Kennedy.
Especially if Bruce can lock another one.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Here.
Yep.
It's danger. Do a bit of a rounder rings action. Give updates on other.
Oh, there's lots
sheets.
happening on sheet C right now.
So on sheet 3, lots of rocks in play, but it's the A quarterfinals. Team McAleer against Team Newell, and the first end was blank, but there's lots of rocks in play in the second end. Then on sheet 1, the other A quarterfinals is Team McEwen against Team LaForge, and Team McEwen took a big 4 in the first, so LaForge will look to battle back.
Yeah. No, it's a good thing that they were in the early dinner scene and got to hear Emma Miskew talk about giving up points in the early end. Like, she gave us good advice. You have to shake that off and really just reallocate your focus to just making the next shot. Don't think about how you're down 4. You're just like, how do I make the next draw? How do I make the next hit? And don't be too forward thinking in your curling. You want to have blinders on when you play this game.
Absolutely. And it looks like McCamley, or Team Disco Draw Daddies here, has an opportunity to really lock one on and take a bit of wind out of the Kennedy sails.
Yeah, they're going to try to make good on that heavy tap we saw from the third's last rock, because like you said, they moved that top right over, making a bit of a pocket. So now McCamley can kind of freeze one in there, and it'll be tough to remove. And that was by virtue of the miss of Bruce's last from Team Kennedy. It just overcurled a little bit. It didn't block the path.
Exactly, yeah.
So see if Scott can sink one in here.
It's a bit heavy and wide.
So I'm wondering if it's too heavy, if they'll switch the call and try to make the angle raise.
That's what I think. That's what happened.
Yeah,
but no.
Trying to sweep. Oh, it looks like we waited a little bit too long.
Yeah. Okay, that bump though is still accessible on his next one, depending on what happens here.
Yep.
It might be his only shot though, depending.
Looks like Sheldon is indicating a draw, at the top of the house. I think my favorite outcome is just to absolutely step on people. Like, you want to go for the throat when you have an opportunity in curling, because you might not get another opportunity.
Especially like this.
Yes, if you can glue this one on in the top 4-foot and sit 3 and make Scott throw a really hard shot, you should be able to draw for 4. Like, you can leave yourself room for 2 more rocks to get points. So guarding seems a little too defensive. Also,
if you guard, you're guaranteeing yourself 2, but how are you going to get in after?
Correct. Yeah. And Team Kennedy has some words of wisdom for any new curlers that are joining the sport or watching today. Never slam your broom on the ice. It's just not cool. And I have a good anecdote about, emotions happen. You're allowed to be angry, but anger is better explained than expressed. And something our sports psychologist always shared with us was, if you need to be upset about something, put yourself on your stopwatch. You have a stopwatch. You can kind of put yourself on a 10-second timer. Say whatever you want, but at the end of that 10 seconds, you move on. And you focus on the next shot. So, and I know some other teams have a rule about your broom slam can only be from the knee down, so you can't take as much aggression with that little distance. But I've definitely seen some double over the head broom slams in my time. And
so no one likes a broom slammer in general.
Yeah, no, it's not fun. It makes it a little bit awkward. So I'm going to agree with their advice. No broom slams above the knee. All right, so yeah, by trying to guard that yellow, they've kind of come in a little bit wide and left this draw again for Scott. So he can reverse his fate of his last one. And he's, you know, in curling, you want to, if you ever throw the same path twice, you want to make sure that you make that adjustment. And the game really does rely on that muscle memory, you know, talking about the paths and learning the paths. So we would expect him to make this one, having already had the opportunity to throw it. Yeah, absolutely.
Can also rub off that yellow if he's a bit wide again. There's a few options here.
Yeah, there's like shrapnel. He can be a little wide, he can be a little tight and kind of bump off. Maybe the red, that's the one that's splitting the T line at the top of the side of the button. So a couple of options here. I don't know, Joey, do you find that if you have 3 players that you instinctivally just throw a little bit heavier to not wear out? Or
your sweeper, I think that's a tendency, even if you don't mean to.
Yeah. His weight looks actually pretty good.
Yeah, if they
we
can
might
wick
see that
off
little
this,
wick action you described. Maybe a hair
a
too
little
thick.
thin. Yeah, a little thinner would have been. Okay, leaves him a tough draw for 3.
It did improve the situation for Team McCambly. It made it a little tighter to draw through that. Oh, they've scared them off entirely. They're not even going to try to throw that little out turn through the hole.
Are they going to play it'd be tough to, you have to bump that? Yeah, I think they're going to play the bump.
Okay, yeah, they probably concede half of that red, actually, for the bump. And the bump's a little easier than just the straight draw, potentially, because they can be a little heavy and maybe rub off one of the reds in the forfeit already and sit 3 that way.
Right.
Yeah. This might be just a preference, you know, when we go back to shot selection, who's throwing. Maybe they like their intern a little bit more. They did definitely throw this path earlier in the end, so they should know the speed and the curl.
And like you said, it might just feel a bit safer to play this side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no bump or tick accidentally on a yellow on this side. The bump is on your own.
Don't want that. The worst feeling as a skip.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing here is they are discussing like the speed of this path. Curling really is all about communicating how a certain path felt or how the draw feels, because you only get to throw 2 rocks an end.
Right.
And those 2 rocks are 15 minutes apart. You don't get to just keep throwing them over and over again until you're comfortable. So they were probably just discussing, you know, how much speed do we need here to make this shot? Has it changed since the last time you threw, that kind of thing?
Right. Line looks a bit tight here. It seems like it's curling early, so it might be light. Oh, actually, line's pretty good.
It's close. Yeah, I agree it's a little light because it's over curling.
Yeah.
Even if they get to the red, it's not gonna hit it thin enough to pump it. Yeah.
Good try though. Maybe a few more feet of weight, and they would have had that.
Yep. I think the line was absolutely bang on. So there we go. Team Kennedy will take their 2, and they will take a 1-point lead going into the 3rd end here at the Over the Rainbow 2025 Bond Speed.
Starting the 3rd end here, and Kennedy threw a center guard. So Scott put it in a pretty good spot. In the center line, close to the house.
Yeah, even though Red scored 2 and they had the lead, they're still, when you don't have the hammer, you always want to create that offense around the center line. You don't ever want to let the team with the hammer off the hook. Because even if a corner guard is made and they get around a corner guard, you know, you got yours even one better. in the forefoot potentially. And
Yeah.
this corner guard has gone astray. It is over curling. So Team McCambly will be a little disappointed with that placement. They might be able to get one around it. It'll be tough to make it score because it'll just be in a piece of the 12 foot. So Team Kennedy won't be too worried about that. Scott's just going to wrap a draw around his red and apply the pressure right away to the disco draw daddies. See if they can dance their way out of this one. And Scott wanted to let us know that he actually had a brush with fame. He has played against some famous curlers in his time.
Okay.
In his 28 years of curling, and so he actually played against Scott Howard. And Scott Howard is competing right now in the 2025 Ontario Men's Curling Championships. They're in the semifinal, awaiting. That game actually should be taking place shortly against Team Keene.
Okay.
So that'll be exciting. The winner of that game will advance to the final and play Team Moybrook, and the winner of that game will advance to the Brier. So maybe at the end of today, Scott Eckford will be able to say that Scott Howard, who he played against, is going to his, 15th Brier.
Yeah, it's Team Ontario. Not his first rodeo there.
Yeah.
So Darren is playing to come around here, trying to freeze right on top.
Yeah, Scott made his draw really good, just above the tee line, touching the button.
Oh, this was a hit. Sorry.
Pretty good to be able to get that rock. That rock was buried.
It was very buried. Yeah.
So they'll be happy with that, just limiting the amount of noise around the forefoot.
Would have liked to stick around there, I think. So a little less weight on that hit, he would have stick around. But just getting by that guard and hitting that buried stone is a pretty good outcome.
Yeah, I would have liked to see the disco draw daddies throw a little bit less weight at that, knowing that, if you run into that corner guard, because you can tick it, you might tick it out of the way and roll behind your yellow corner guard that you threw on your first shot. And just make sure that your rock sticks around and stays in place. You can use it for later. Yeah, nothing really will have changed here for Team Kennedy. They're just going to start lobbing draws until that center guard is gone.
Looks like another nice draw again. And lots of finish at the end. This was a bit light, actually, but you can see a lot of curl on this sheet.
Yeah, that's nice. You don't want to ever go to a bonspiel and have it just be really straight. There's so many shots you can't play.
Yeah, there's more finesse in this kind of ice.
Yeah, absolutely.
See if Darren can get behind those guards first.
Yeah, the race to get around the guards is now on, and the door's open a little bit here for the draw daddies. So let's see if they can live up to their name here and draw this one into the forefoot.
The sweeper's not touching that one, though. Just a bit hot.
And that one's going to go right through. Yeah, both teams having a bit of the case of the heavies tonight in the first couple of ends. So I'm wondering if things are a little bit quicker tonight.
I think quick all week. For those who are listening who understand, hog to hog splits, it was about 15-10 hog to hog earlier on Friday, or late on Friday. So that's very, very quick ice. So
those rocks will just have a tendency to travel and travel and travel, and the skill of being able to adjust for that and know that you can throw a tight guard and your sweepers can probably sweep at that extra 4 or 5 feet to where you need to go is what's going to separate the semifinalists from those going home in this game.
A little light as well, but top 12. Fully buried. It's a great shot.
They did touch the guard a little bit too, so I'm wondering if that would have gone a bit further, but it touched it so slightly that it still curled to get buried. And because it's only in the 12-foot, Scott McCambly is not too worried about that rock scoring, so he's going to use it as a center guard and just try to make a big draw around everything. Still be that first one, top 4. And now I think we're seeing a bit of what we just kind of, we might have just cursed them. It's like, oh, everyone's heavy, the ice is quick, and then they make that adjustment to be a little bit lighter, but they go too far, and then they start throwing them a little bit too light, and they overcurl, or they're a little bit too short to be usable, and that one's going to just bury behind a couple of the red guards.
Yeah, essentially another guard in play for red.
Yes.
He's trying to steal here.
Yeah, Team Kennedy's going to love that outcome.
Yep. They can wrap everyone top 4 here. It'll be a really good position. Top 8 even.
Do you think we'll see Team McGambley switch gears and try to open things up, maybe throw a peel, try to just make sure they score, or do you think they'll still try to keep coming around and try to bump the top?
Yeah, it depends, I guess, on the outcome of this rock, but if they were to open it up, they'll need to do it now with their third first rock, would be my advice.
Yeah, this also reminds me of the Emma Miskew's talk that we had just earlier, where she had the opportunity to skip at the Scotties when Rachel was at the Olympics. And, when she was playing third before, you could miss a shot and, make something out of it, or your skip could always play one after. But if you don't open things up now and make those peels now, and your skip has to make it, it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
And so, she talked about a little bit of missing a shot, and it would, you'd give up 4.
Yeah.
And so Team McCambley don't want to put themselves in that place. So I think we're going to see that peel. It looks like Scott's looking up to see what he can kind of
run in. Yeah, that was a great
wham
shot.
Bam, razzle dazzle, open things up here.
Yeah, quarter, half on that red would be close to, not half, sorry. It's hard to see from this overhead, but
yeah. I think he's trying to go red onto yellow onto red and just kind of spray everything off the center line. This line looks pretty close.
Well, Darren is sweeping. You need to go.
Oh, it's definitely curling. It might be on the very top red. Not a bad result. If they can remove that one, that's okay. Still improves the situation.
Yeah.
Team Kennedy's still sitting 2 here around a couple of guards. They're mostly buried, so they're not too worried. They're just going to probably guard everything out and just apply that little bit of pressure, make Scott McCambley draw the full forfeit on his last. They're already up 1, so they don't need to try anything fancy.
Yeah, just guard.
Yeah, just make the other team throw against 1 or 2 other rocks, and you might scare a steal or force, and they're going to love that. And go into the 4th end. They're tied or up even more.
Yeah. The thrower seems to be indicating this is a bit hot out of his hand, but the line looks great.
Yeah, the thrower really should be the first person that indicates if a shot is heavy, or because they're behind it. They know how much weight they kind of threw. Maybe they did a little bit of an extension and added to the weight. That's sometimes imperceptible to the sweepers. Yeah. So when the rock is let go, that thrower should always be making that first indication of the line is good or the weight is close.
Yeah, I added, I pulled back on release.
Yep, and that can help. And it clearly helped on that shot, because maybe the sweepers did think it was close and they could have swept, but he thought, maybe it's a little bit heavy. Just wait, give that one a little bit longer before you decide to sweep it. It looks like they managed it really well.
So Scott, as Disco Draw Daddy's skip, is asking for the same kind of shot from the first one. Would you play this, Wes, or would you like peeling to the middle, that stagger, and kind of rolling and trying to stay in somewhere?
Yeah, it looks like they can see enough of the red top 12 that they could hit that and roll the shooter somewhere over to the left.
Yeah.
And get out of the way.
And maybe trick the other team into playing a hit on that rock versus throwing a guard again.
Yeah, that was an opportunity to maybe open things up in an easier fashion.
Yeah.
Like the shot they just tried, they got a little bit of a good result in moving things around, but they were taking on kind of hitting 2 different rocks before the rock they wanted to hit, whereas they could have just hit a wide open rock and left a yellow there to promote later or use or draw around. So Red is still sitting 3, but they're sitting a better 3 than they were before.
Yeah, they promoted that to the side of the forefoot, completely lost. So if Team Kenny can wrap another one here, even top 8, they're sitting really good.
Yeah, I think they're going to do something that we would collectively refer to as the Christmas tree.
My favorite curler.
Yeah. So the great curler, world champion Colleen Jones, gave us this term, the Christmas tree. And so if Team Kennedy can kind of get this rock, a little, maybe a piece in the forefoot, but not fully buried, they're kind of going to be on an angle. And so Team Disco Draw Daddies are only going to see a piece of the middle one and a piece of the back one, so they can't really hit them and stick around and be in a good spot.
Yeah.
Whereas if they were to throw the straight guard, they would leave a straight back double. So if they can make this little Christmas tree half-buried shot, they're going to put the Disco Draw Daddies in a world of hurt.
I missed the call, but I think that is what they are looking to play.
Yeah, I think that they're okay with anything kind of in that column above the rock, that shot rock. They want to guard it. Obviously, if the weight is good, they can kind of wrap one right around and really put the pressure on. Yeah, something in front of that red is going to be good. Something I always like to hear from my skip before I sweep rock is like, what is the ideal placement of this? Like, where are you throwing for me to put this for you? Because the sweepers are really going to manage that fine-tuning, the extra kind of a couple of feet for where it needs to go. So what's ideal and then what's acceptable? So
right.
Yeah, a little bit short.
Tolerance.
Absolutely is fine, yeah.
And as a thrower, that's also important to know what your tolerance is as a thrower. Here, Sheldon's tolerance would be to be light of guards okay here. You don't want to be heavy and just kind of give them a bigger pocket to draw to or to hit.
You could unintentionally just open things up, and then your end that you work so hard to kind of close down the forefoot and make it uncomfortable for the Disco Draw Daddies has been, you've let them off the hook. This needs to be swept and it needs to get over the line.
Yeah, I think he just got into a fresh path out there. We haven't played anything that wide in a while, and they got fooled on the weight of it.
Yeah.
So, speaking of opportunities, there's one now for the Disco Draw Daddies.
Yes, they're going to be wiping the sweat off their brow now. They can have access to shot rock and maybe kind of throw that soft weight we talked about and kind of roll in underneath.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll be Christmas treed underneath that top red and have an opportunity to get their two that way.
So by the broom, it looks like they're not playing a lot of weight, so maybe they're hearing you.
Yeah, it looks like they're going out to the wing here to just throw that like soft draw tap, freeze. Yeah. There's a lot more room for error with the draw for you where you can place the stone where if you throw the hit, it's kind of all or nothing. And this rock is probably a little bit buried from the right-handed thrower's hack, so they don't want to take anything on here unnecessarily. They just want to cozy up to that red. Sit shot, maybe tap at an inch or two. We have a couple more ends of updates now. Our other two sheets have started, but on sheet one, Team McEwen versus Team LaForge. Team LaForge was able to bounce back with a single, so the score is 4-1 there for McEwen.
And on sheet 3, Newell against McAleer, so again, another A quarterfinals. McAleer was forced to 1 in the second. The score is not up on the third, but they're playing the fourth right now at Lead Rocks. So I'll let you know once they post a score.
Perfect. And it looks like our other two sheets are still just maybe starting their second ends, but we don't have great visuals on the scores.
See, my eyes are not that good.
Uh-oh. Back to our sheet. The Disco Draw Daddies
a bit light.
have drawn death. This is not good. So they were trying that wraparound, and they bumped on the top, and it over-curled, and so now Team Kennedy is sitting 3 and throwing. And so they're just going to look to really lock down that forefoot area.
Again, just on the wrong side of tolerance on that shot from Scott. You could be a bit heavy and bump it back, but you can't be light and give yourself another guard.
Yeah. I didn't see the final shot call from Sheldon and Bruce, but it looks like they're either guarding the yellow, so there's no tap back.
Yeah.
And then the Draw Daddies might have to draw through this little out-turn port.
Oof.
Yeah. Nothing's going to be easy, even if they
want
don't
to throw that.
Yeah. I think we just saw the sweepers there confirming with the comment you made about that. The first draw came up really short. It was a hog draw.
Right.
And so they're just trying to talk about what happened there. Were you actually that light, or maybe it is a bit slow? So they're going to ask the skip for a little bit more power here on the throw to make sure it's over and in the intended position. And it looks like that adjustment has been made.
Yeah, it looks more of a positive release as well, so it'll carry the Maybe a bit too much because they're backing away.
Yeah. As long as they're not bumping that yellow in for a shot, they should be in good shape.
I want to line it up. I think that's what they're... Okay. Well, makes the call easier now for Disco Daddies.
Yeah, there's no real other option except for the tap on this yellow. Yeah, Team Kennedy would have liked to have covered that yellow or, you know, corner frozen it, made the tap a little bit go on a weird angle. But Scott can just kind of make this straight tap back right to the button and score his one and tie this game up.
Yeah, or even to the 4 foot. Giving up one here is not the end of the world, right?
Yes, yeah, but we definitely don't want to give up a steal of 3.
No, agreed.
So I think what they're probably discussing is the weight. They don't want to throw a hit because you could hit and tick it and roll out or you miss that way. But if you just throw the tap, any kind of contact on this rock will help you improve the situation. Yeah, cut them down to 1, maybe you score. And they should have learned from the weight on the first one and the line. Oh, look at this.
Look at this. Go, go,
little
go,
tap,
go, go.
little rub, little roll.
Not enough for one, but great try and a good result, giving up one.
Yeah, they're gonna be happy with that result, giving up no more than 1. A 2-point lead, still 5 ends to play. They're not worried about making that back at all.
Yeah.
And as we head into the 4th end of play, our halfway point, we're just going to thank Eric Sangster Mortgages as well as they're a platinum sponsor for the end. And we can't thank them enough for helping us do things like a live stream and having guest speakers like Emma Miskew for players from all over Canada that are coming to the Sponsbill to really make it a premier curling event. So we really appreciate that. And again, the sheet is sponsored by TD Bank. They've been responsible for all the shot making you've seen here today.
Another perfect center guard here from Scott to start off the 4th end.
I don't think we're going to see any real big deviation from either team's game plan here. Team Kennedy is going to force play to the middle. They're up 2, but they're going to try to force Scott to make difficult shots like they did last time. Throw against 1, throw against 2, throw against 3. And Scott here is just going to try to get play away from the middle so he's not so confined. All of his shots have been to a very tight spot so far.
Yeah. And another double center here to start off the end, which is not ideal if you have the hammer and are looking to score multiple points.
Correct. And Team Kennedy is going to be remembering back to the 2nd end where they made this draw twice and got 2 really good rocks in the button.
So this shot from Darren looks like it's coming in nicely. Don't want to go too deep with this.
Yeah, as the team with the hammer, you really generally don't want your rocks behind the tee line, because it just gives the other team an opportunity to throw a draw with backing, and if they make the freeze, their rock is all that more difficult to remove. So the daddies are not going to be happy with that one. And so James will be just looking to throw that come around the center again. They're in a really good position to apply pressure, force play to the middle, get this rock in a really good spot. So now we can see the outside sweeper sweeping this, trying to sweep this to curl.
Yeah,
there's
doing a good job at it.
Yeah, this thing is really coming right towards us right now. It's going more sideways than it is forward. So they were maybe sweeping with that directionality is the, the common perception is that you will get a little bit more curl out of that. Maybe like a third to a half a rock of distance. You can help that curl.
Yeah. So now Scott is opening the front this time, not waiting as long to kind of give himself some room or a chance to score. 'Cause again, that was a great come around from Team Kennedy.
Yeah, so maybe they've just adapted and they've adjusted from the last end where they didn't throw the shot until 2 rocks from now.
Yeah.
And they didn't really have a good opportunity to get into the middle outside of a somewhat difficult tap.
This looks close.
Yeah, we're going to get some movement here.
That's okay.
Yep, there's only one center guard left, and they can see both reds a little bit in the house.
And the center guard is their color to run back if they need to.
Yeah, and that was a benefit they did not have in the last end. They were always running red stuff onto red stuff, so I might see them make a run back on one of the next shot if this draw is made.
Might be able to wick off here.
You never want to abandon a stone. Like, even if you think it's heavy or it's light, you always want to stay close to it, because the skipper, the thrower, might have an idea for some sort of alternate outcome. And so bumping off of that red, it kind of took away a hit and roll for the draw daddies, and you also improved your situation. You got that rock where you wanted to, even though it was thrown 8 to 12 feet heavy.
Yep.
So you're always kind of waiting for that audible, maybe a way to get something out of a shot. And so Team Kennedy did that really well. And now the disco draw daddies are going to have to...
They have to run.
Yeah. They're not called the disco takeout daddies, so we'll see what they can muster up here.
They did, though, win a double takeout pitcher earlier this week.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, so they've known they need one now.
Oh, unintended double takeout. Hopefully they
Close
can make
enough. Close enough.
Hopefully they can make an intended one here.
Oh,
no.
That was just in the middle.
Scott can't believe that just happened. Threw his hands up in surprise. I bet if he tried to do that 100 more times, he would make contact on any one of those reds.
Yeah, at least one. That was hard to do. It
doesn't even look like a rock could fit through that hole from here.
Yeah, that was hard to do.
Wow. I don't know if we can get an instant replay on that from over top, but that was impressive. Maybe not today. And Team Kennedy is just going to look to replace that guard over and over again. Really no great opportunity right now for the disco draw daddies to get more than one. They have a really, really tough draw to the pin.
Yeah, you feel like the last 3 ends, I would say, Team Disco Draw Daddies have really been chasing most of the ends.
Yes. Yeah, right now I would describe the battle of the front end. That game is being won by Team Kennedy. just getting their rocks in that proper position above the tee line. They're getting those guards up. Scott Eckford has been exceptional so far at making those first 2 stones. And
yeah, putting the pressure on early.
Yeah.
Scott looking to run back again, or the peel. That broom, it looks like it's just a straight peel.
Yeah, just get rid of that red guard. Try to get some vision on these reds in the house to try to bump or tap them out. Some teams sometimes are like, oh, do I chase? Do I try to bump the rock in behind? And a good question you can ask yourself is, like, can this guard be made any better?
Right.
This guard is perfect. It is perfectly guarding the red that's top 8. So peeling that rock, probably a good idea, because it means the other team has to make it perfect again. Yep. And so the odds of that are a little bit less. And so you might be able to see a little bit more of that red on either side once this guard is thrown again on the next shot.
And Scott still has the in-turn draw on his last one so far. So peeling is not a bad call.
Yeah. So James throwing third stones. He's been curling for 15 years. The Kennedy team actually has a collective curling experience of 112 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me, that was Bruce that threw. Bruce is actually claiming to have curled 52 years. That's quite impressive for someone who only looks like they're 40. Okay, now was this guard made perfectly again?
I think so.
I think so. It's really close. The nice thing about it is that it's closer to the rings. It's easier to catch something on the way by if you try that run back. Looks like the disco draw daddies are going to think about it a little bit. They're lining up the run back, so they're going to try to make contact in the house this time.
Yeah, you just got to move that off the forefoot, essentially. The rock top button is not your friend.
No. There's only really one very slight danger, and it's over curling it and planting it on the rock top 8, and you could go jam, and leave all 4 reds in the house and a guard in front of it. This rock's already over curled, so maybe they'll try to run it back
straight
and
peel
the back side red. No, they're just going to clear it out of the way, and that's fine.
Looks like Team Kennedy's maybe not looking at the guard, or maybe they're discussing his next shot.
Yeah, there's some opportunity here. We talked a little bit earlier in the game about applying pressure and taking opportunities. So it looks like they're going to guard on this one, and I think their discussion might have been about the next one, like you said, where if the guard is peeled again, are we going to go tap, tap, tap and try to sit 4, just to really apply the pressure to the draw daddies, see if they can draw the button. You see some disappointment on sheet C. Team Newell had a little draw.
Almost made it, but just rubbed the front.
Team McAleer might have a hit for 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4. It's hard to say. The score is not posted from the previous end, but I know Red did score, Newell did score because they don't have hammer.
We can confirm from the overhead view that this is a hit for 3 for McAleer, so they'll be happy to take that lead at the first half.
If made.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Sheldon is heavy.
Bit heavy here. Again, letting them off the hook.
Okay, well.
We have a pulse.
Yeah. The forefoot is surrounded, but there's a bit of an opportunity maybe here for Scott to remove that red and open up this scoring area for his last shot. Yeah, so we can see Scott and Martin are trying to figure out what the best outcome is here. You know, what happens if they make the double takeout on those top reds? Yeah, their yellow's going to sit right there, but they would have a very short run back to get 2 or 3.
So on sheet 2, it looks like McAleer did score 2, and on that team is Kevin Martin, who's also the co-chair of the Bonspiel and a gold sponsor through Stroked Ego.
Oh, of course. Yes, no, we appreciate him. He's been supporting both the local league and the Bonspiel for many years. It's always nice to see when your sponsor is being successful in their own event. They're going to keep coming back.
Absolutely.
So it looks like Scott has settled on the double takeout on the top red. So just eliminate some of the reds, clear things up a little bit. There will still be a red on the button, but it'll be alone. And it'll be 2 yellows.
Yeah,
that'll
second
be
and third shot.
So, yeah. Might be able to cook up a little opportunity for 2 or 3 here.
Need to make this, though. It's running. Might play the double the other way.
Nothing from the sweepers yet.
Oh,
wow.
There you go.
Okay.
See, unintended double, but it worked.
The unintended double takeout. So yeah, similar outcome. You know, they wanted to get rid of 2 reds and just kind of have an opportunity to bring that back yellow into play. So they are sitting second and third shot, and it's very easy to remove the top red because they're frozen. So what is Team Kennedy going to do? I can see them tapping to freeze the back yellow, and I think that's my favorite shot as well. If you can ever get your rock to be splitting the center line, frozen to that back yellow, even overcurl it a little bit, number 1, your rock cannot be removed. Number 2, you're going to sit 2, and there's going to be no way for McKinley to score more than 1.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a really good outcome if they can just kind of glue this on the face of the yellow.
If not, they'll leave another double for
Yes, there might be a double for 2. It won't be easy, but you don't want to ever kind of leave the door open. This is going to be a very similar path to the second end where they were making those draws around the 4-foot. Sometimes you can kind of forget that a path is like familiar, or, you know, we've been here before. Let's just think back to that shot we made or a path we threw, use that information to make this one really good. Okay, looks like the sweepers think it might be a little bit heavy.
Heavy again.
All they need to do is get this close to the back yellow.
Looks like it's grinding already. You have to be careful.
Sweepers have rejoined the rock. I don't
like
think it needs to curl, does it? Oh, wow.
To go for distance, though. Yeah, great draw weight. Leaves that double we talked about, but still a great outcome. That double is not easy.
And the sweepers were kind of indicating that was really heavy, but I think they've left that a little bit short. The double you're referencing, the red that's kind of
red
1 o'clock on the 4-foot.
Actually, I don't even know if that's there, is it?
Maybe not.
Is it just jam on the back?
I think if they can hit all of that red, they should be able to get to spin out of the 4-foot and score 1 or 2 that way. What you don't want to do is tick that top yellow first.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that might be a
disaster.
2.
Yeah.
They might be talking a little bit about risk versus reward right now. Do we take on this double, risking another steal and going down 3 into the second half of this game, or is there an easier shot we can play for 1? You know, they could play that little out-turn draw, the one that was just thrown, and tap it back. Looks like they've elected for the double.
What would you play, Wes?
Oh, it's tough to tell from the overhead camera, but it does look like this double's possible.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to throw the double as well. Knowing it might only be for 1 at the end of it. Yeah,
you want to hit as much as you can, but you have to throw it hard as well. I think because of the steepness of the angle, you're going to be hitting the second red. You need to get as much spin on this top one as possible to get it going out of the 4-foot, out of the 8-foot, so that your other 2 yellows count.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Scott can clip this red as thick as he can, and we'll see what happens. Like sometimes you don't know until you throw it.
looks a bit.
The line looks good. They got the sweepers going on
It's
it.
close. Oh, and
Oh no!
did exactly what you didn't want to do.
Yeah.
That wasn't far off though. That was a good throw.
Yep. And that's that moment where you're like, ah, maybe we should have shown that tap.
Yeah. All been there.
Yep.
The debrief.
Yeah, and hopefully their debrief is structured like, why did we miss that? Oh, we need to take a bit more ice. Great, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's make the next one. Let's get 2 in the next end, and turn this game around. They're not going to be dwelling on the fact that it was a miss or that they gave up a steal. They're going to take what they can learn from that and move on. You can see them smiling and nodding with their opposition. That was a good end. That was a fun end. And that will take us to the end of the first half. And once again, we'd like to thank Eric Sangster Mortgages as the platinum sponsor, and as well as TD Bank for being the sponsor of Sheet 2 in our streamed games today.
Another perfect guard by Scott to start the 5th end here. Come around attempt by Darren from Disco Draw Daddies.
Yeah, what are we going to see here? Are we going to see like a change-up of the strategy, or are they just going to kind of keep going? Like, is it working? Do they need to reevaluate?
I think this was an unintentional change. Now we got 2 corners because of it heavy on the come around.
They moved on from the unintended double takeout to the unintended split.
Split, yeah. No tick rule. If not, that would be all brought back.
That's right. So the general rules of play, there is a no-tick rule. So if there was a rock touching the center line, you actually can't remove it from the center line until the 5-rock free guard zone rule is over. So because that rule is not in effect, the tick is the absolutely unequivocally best outcome as the team with the hammer, because there's no rock on the center line, and you've got 2 corner guards. So no matter where this rock goes for Scott Eckford, the Disco Draw Daddies can draw. They can draw around both of those corner guards, and they might be able to set up a big 3-ender here. The only way that would have been better is if they had made the tick and rolled their rock into the rings.
Yeah.
So they should be very happy with that outcome.
I missed a call here. Is this top 4? Is it another guard?
I think they might be throwing another guard just because the tick was made. You don't want to just leave your rocks in the open, because the other team can go around the corner guards, and there we go. Yep, Scott's calling that first come around. He knows that he has the advantage right now, and that because Team Kennedy is up, they're always going to be thinking defense. Like, we have a 4-point lead. We don't need to be busy in the middle anymore. We don't need to score any more points.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's true, but if you're really good at aggressive play, why not just pile on more points, take 3 more? So we'll see if Team Kennedy switches to all their defense and tries to hit. And that's where you might see Team McCambly get some mistakes and be able to benefit from these new corner guards they've got.
This looks very tight for line already.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just went and said all that, and they've missed this tight and light. So we're not going to get to see that play out exactly as we drew it up.
Over, though. At least it's another corner guard they can maybe use later on in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Team Kennedy's just going to ignore all those corner guards. Just make another good one. Continue that same game plan of getting rocks buried around the center line. Not really give Team McCambly any chance to score using those corner guards.
So we see a few
We just got a little visit from website and stream organizer Xander Fernandez. He was just informing us of some timelines. We'd like to thank him for his volunteering. He's been a part of the Box Pro for the last 2 years.
Volunteer extraordinaire.
Yeah, coincidentally, also my fiance. So thanks, honey. And it looks like in our little...
Around here, unless it's heavy, it's hard to say. Oh, a bit heavy again, fortunately, but that line was perfect.
What that tells me is that they're playing on an exceptional ice surface, that the speed is being maintained throughout the entire game. That can be sometimes a difficult mission to accomplish with the changing temperature outside. You know, in the last week we saw -20 to +5, and that can be difficult for the ice maker to maintain the temperature in the ice shed, they might call it, in the curling club.
Yep.
So the fact that they're still going through means the speed is still staying really, really nice. And curlers generally are going to really appreciative of that.
Yeah, and it's been a great surface all week. Like I said, I haven't heard anything about picks or getting flat or anything.
Excellent,
so, yeah, great ice maker by Rick. The weight is nice on this. The line is really nice. They can carve this in a bit, yeah.
Should be perfect.
Yeah, and Team Kenny's just getting all the angles and the weights down that they can really put a lot of pressure on the camera.
Yeah, that really has been the story of this game so far, hasn't it? Just the front end of Team Kennedy just being that little bit better with their rock placement, leaving them a little bit more of their sweepers. We talked a little bit of that, I only have one sweeper, and do I tend to throw it a little bit heavier? And that has been the case for Team McGambley.
Yeah, yeah. Do this, if we can get this by, it looks really nice.
And the Disco Draw Daddies also left some words of wisdom for any new curlers that might be listening today. They say, try to play with people who are better than you and know the game. They can kind of coach you from on the ice. That's really helpful to have somebody who can be like, oh, what would you do here? Or,
yeah.
How can I improve this? Do you have any little tips or tricks for this thing I'm struggling with? And they also say to play more than once a week. And I couldn't agree more. It's a sport that has a lot of fine motor skills and fine tuning, and like little bits of things here and there can be a rock through versus a nice rock top 12, and get lessons, I think, is the only thing I would add there. Try to find someone at your club that you can kind of ask to go and have like a one-on-one or a little group session to just get your feet under you and improve your game a little bit, the same way you would go get a golf lesson or a lesson from any other coach.
Yeah, mechanics are so key in curling, and like Emma said during her talk, right,
exactly,
how balance is the most important thing, and strong mechanics of a throw is something you can work on, but having a coach really kind of guide you through and record you in terms of what you need to fix or work on is really helpful.
A concept that I've landed on that I would like to get out to more and more curlers is to make your delivery as reproducible as possible. You don't want to have a variable delivery that, sometimes it looks like this, sometimes it looks like that. If you can like reproduce generally the same mechanics over and over again, the way you slide, the way you throw, reduce a lot of the movement, you're going to be more successful.
Yeah, you'll be in good shape for sure.
All right, so, well, we've seen this setup kind of before, where we've got some red guards, center guards up front, and a really well-placed red rock top button. So it looks like Scott's going to try to open things up. They do have a yellow rock in the rings top 12, so they can try to make that rock come back into play. So they're going to hit this
saving that for him, or This is the Vice's first rock. Sorry, the third's first rock.
Yep. So you still have some time. They're going to hit the rock that's mostly guarding the rock on the button. And if they can hit this in the right spot, they might make the run back and actually remove the one at the back. They're going to hit it a little bit too thin.
I was hoping to come off the other one, but opens it up. Now, if you want to step on their necks, like you said earlier, we wrap around again.
Yeah.
And then it's big trouble.
There's still no real risk for Team Kennedy here. They're just going to keep drawing around the middle, keep applying that pressure. They like that. They've just been able to rinse and repeat every end. They haven't had to take on any terribly difficult shots. Once they got that lead, they hung on to it and just...
Another perfect.
Yeah, look at this.
Again, lots of pressure on Team Disco Daddies here.
Yeah, his 52 years of curling experience from Bruce are really starting to show now. He's really dialed in here. So we have seen a bit of a switch up in the strategy here for the Draw Daddies. They're going to draw and maybe try to bump and rearrange those rocks now that they can see a bit of them.
It's a heavy draw. Looks tight for line already.
It also looks tight from where I'm sitting. They are going to wreck on that center line guard.
Yeah. Again, the difference here, I think, is a bit on release as well. They throw a lot less rotation than Team Kennedy, and I think Scott is getting fooled a bit in terms of icing his players, depending on the opposition's broom.
Yeah, in a game where you see so little shots down, there's so many, infinitely many paths across the sheet, really. Sometimes you have to go off of what your opposition threw, and if they put the broom in one spot, but they throw it a little bit different, or they were a little heavy or a little late, sometimes you get fooled by that because it's the only thing you have to go on. So yeah, they would have benefited from a little bit more ice there just to make sure they got by and address those rocks in the forefoot. But now we're back to the guard that can be placed better on these reds will be placed, and there's no real way to get rid of both blue reds right now. Blues, yeah. Yeah, from a club down the street.
Yeah, and like you said, the way the angle's in now, that angle run in on the yellow is going to be difficult to remove or score.
Yeah, that top red doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I really like this Team Kennedy little discussion they have in the hack before they throw.
Yeah,
That's
every
just
end.
so important to just confirm with your skip. They've been down at the other end for the whole end. We've already talked about there's 15 minutes between your shots potentially in there. Scott's just keeping him updated on the path, the speed. Remember how you threw that one in the third end? Throw it like that, or maybe it's a little bit quicker than that spot.
Yeah.
Skip acknowledges that, and then boom, we're throwing. So they have a really good system. They have a really good, algorithm they're following before they throw a shot, and I think that's been to their benefit. Looking at the scoreboard.
Absolutely. You're all on the same page for every shot, it seems.
Yes. Yeah.
Should we give it a little round of rings update while this guard is...
Yeah, it looks like some things have transpired.
So on sheet 3, McAleer against Newell, it is now 3-2 for McAleer with Hammer playing the 6th.
They've just started the 6th end, and then on sheet 1 in our other A order, they're about to wrap up their 5th end, but Team McEwen has maintained their lead. They're still up 5-2 over Team LaForge, and LaForge looking to try to set up a steal here, try to claw back into this game. And apologies, there are 2 other games going on sheets 4 and 5, but we don't have good visuals on them. But they are very much in action. Last time I got like a complimentary. Scott looked like he had his mind made up there. Now he's sliding back down to see if there's a better shot that he can throw. Looks like he's looking at the triple takeout. And so he's looking to run back the red rock that Sheldon just threw and maybe try to kind of blast everything.
If you can get by that guard, it's there. It's hard to tell from the overhead here, but I think that shot is there. Oh yeah, you can see from the overhead now, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
there we go.
nose,
We just saw that kind of explosive hand movement from
Martin.
Yep.
Peel away just off nose here, and everything should go, and then
it's
your
really
shot all of a sudden.
open up that scoring area. Yeah, if you get everything going, your lone yellow now is the closest one to the button.
Yeah.
The downside is that Team Kennedy can kind of hit that yellow and just the end will be a blank or a single, which Scott won't be happy about, but sometimes you just got to take your lumps and score and move on. Maybe they're a better team at stealing than they are at.
Yeah, the hammer's not been their friend
No.
so far.
All right, here we go. Yeah, big weight here.
Thank you, guys.
It's got a curl, got a curl. Oh, no.
Sweet that.
Oh, is something interesting manifested over on the right-hand side? I don't think so. We already commented earlier about
just a little more.
the two yellows that are kind of just tight in top 12. We were wondering if they're on a bit of an angle that they can be promoted. That's a bit of an easier shot, but I think they just go into the top of the red and it just jams right there. So I think
I mean, it's spicy, but
the draw daddies will have to pull off the draw of the century here with the wide intern and kind of draw around the back of the rock that's on the tee line right now and touch a piece of the pin.
see if they can live up to their name.
Yeah. We actually asked the Disco Draw Daddies before the game if the team would be in a horror movie, who would be the first one to get killed off, and they said that their lead, they would sacrifice their lead. It looks like they did.
They did. He's not even here
Yeah,
to
we
defend
can't find
himself.
him anywhere.
Oh, this is over curling though. I don't know why they.
Oh, this is interesting. Now, if they can get into the 4-foot, they might be guaranteed a steal. Is there a triple?
Yeah, there might be a triple. I agree.
Is there
just
a triple
inside the nose.
takeout? So
Again, they've been let off the hook every end here. So
yeah, if there was a time to make good on one of those opportunities, it would be now.
yeah.
They cannot give up any more points.
Again, I think the triple is there.
So if we can get the overhead view back, we might be able to draw up if we can see this triple takeout. There we go. So what the draw daddies are going to try to draw up here is if they can throw and hit, the top two reds as we're looking at them, hit the one on the left a little bit first, it should go back and kill and take out the back red that's on the button. Their shooter should kind of come to the right towards us and knock out the other one. They do need a lot of weight, but it definitely looks like it's there to score two and get them right back into this game. So Scott's just going to line this up. They just kind of threw a peel in this spot, so they should have an idea how much it's going to curl.
Yeah, it kind of ran actually straighter than I think they thought it would, so that's good to know.
Yep, they're probably discussing that exact thing.
Yeah, I'd probably ice that. Probably the right ice for Scott, I would think. Or max ice, actually, depending on how he threw his first one. It's hard for us to see if he was a bit wide on release or on...
Yeah, sometimes the center line is a bit of a tricky spot to throw rocks. Sometimes they'll run a little bit straighter, or once they cross the center line, they can be peaked and it'll really curl. So this might be the first one they've thrown this close. And so they probably just took an extra little second there to decide what they wanted to do or what they thought it would do. They're throwing the intern. Okay,
I didn't see that in my cards.
I don't know if it's there with the intern, but he's giving this a good chance. He just needs to curl past the guard. They should be sweeping this. Could be really close. 1, 2, 3. Get them all.
There you go.
Wow.
Not unintended.
Not at all.
Called and made.
The greatest shot, their greatest success as a team is now an intended triple takeout for two.
Yeah.
They're going to claw back into this game and take a 2-point deficit into the sixth end, but wow, Scott's going to be really happy about that one. And I just grilled him for throwing the wrong turn.
He taught us. I mean, it was makeable on both turns, but that turn seemed a lot harder because it's a skinny guard.
Just get by the guard, yeah. I don't think he could have hit that in a more perfect spot.
Yeah, with big weight.
Yeah. That's going to be one you're going to want to grab for the Instagram reel for after the game.
Exactly. Without the commentary.
No, with the commentary. With me saying it's impossible, just as he's about to make it.
At West4J.
Making a big shot like that for your team is always a big injection of excitement and
momentum.
belief. Like they probably thought, like, oh, if we don't make this, we're gonna handshake and call it the game.
Yeah.
But no, they've turned this around. They put a big 2 back on the board, erased that big steal of 2 from the 4th, and got rid of that hammer. Maybe it was a little bit cursed, and so let's see if they can make some of those draws around the middle and apply pressure.
Now it's Darren's turn with a perfect center guard.
All right, here we go. Let's see the hammer. And we're going to go with the curse theory.
Yeah, we're sticking to that.
Yeah. Maybe they were being cursed by their lead, who they sacrificed from beyond the grave. Scott's been all over the forefoot so far this game, so...
Yeah, I don't expect anything different on this one.
Yep.
It looks a bit light, perhaps, but they're able to carry. That's the great thing about this surface, that you're able to carry rocks a lot further.
Correct.
Especially with that kind of rotation.
Yep. Yeah, they can just... You can either kind of not sweep it and let it slow down on its own, or you can sweep it and really keep it going that little bit further. I always call like a rock that lacks rotation is kind of akin to a knuckleball in softball, where it's kind of hitting the air and it's kind of going in a bit of a direction. It's tough to really be consistent and know where it's going to go. Where that little more rotation, a little more purpose, you can kind of read it a little bit better, like you said earlier. So they'll be happy with that. It's a little bit short, but still blocking things up. It's a piece in the 8-foot. We can provide a bit of a score update on sheet 1. Our other quarterfinal matchup, Team LaForge was able to steal a point, so they were able to claw back a little bit, and they actually have the same score, so it's going to be 5-4 for Team McEwen there. They have the hammer going into the 6th end.
5-3 playing the 6th.
Yeah.
Hey, well, we're not blanking this end at this rate. Double center.
The hammer curse, I think, a little alive. It looks like draw weight has left Team Kennedy's bodies.
Yeah, and like Scott was indicating he wanted to bump that, but I think that rock is in a really good spot. If you can get around it, it acts as a guard versus
Correct.
The bump will be just a difficult shot.
I'm also a little surprised he's not throwing the out turn around the guards. The guards are kind of pointing in a direction, and that direction is usually the direction you follow to get around them, because you have a little more space to get around the high one and can curl and get buried behind it. But this goes back to our conversation about shot selection. Maybe they know this path a little better. It's curling a little bit more. They know they can get buried. This one's definitely curling.
Can freeze it, they can...
Okay.
Yeah, that plays.
Yeah, their goal is to probably steal one, steal one, steal one, just keep Team Kennedy guessing and throwing. Now, Team Kennedy has the hammer. 5 rocks have been thrown. Is there maybe another shot you'd be throwing here with a 2-point lead in the 6th end to make sure you score?
You could double peel those.
Yeah.
No one's ever gone wrong
Yeah,
throwing a peel.
never regret peeling the guard. So Team Kennedy's up 2, but they're electing to just kind of draw. And maybe they know they're good at offense, and they just want to score 2 more here and really put the game out of reach. But they could elect to kind of clear the top guards
I mean, I know it's really tempting right now the way the rocks are set up, but if you come a bit deep on this and yellow berries, then you're back to chasing a lot. Mind you, this looks like it needs to curl, but it's a good shot though. That rock is very usable for red.
Looks like the draw daddies are wondering if there's like an angle double takeout here. If they can hit the shot that was thrown previously on an angle and kind of get those reds moving, they might be able to get more access into the button area. You know what, everyone? It's a really enjoyable evening. We're actually going to go get ready for our game. So this has been Wes Forget with the call and
Joey Taylor. And if you are still around at 9 o'clock, feel free to watch us on the ice on
yes,
Sheet 2.
I believe we're going to be the feature game, so you can see our antics. And if we listen to our own advice when we get out there.
You can roast us. Yeah.
And we're going to be replaced by two more lovely commentators. So just give us one moment to get adjusted here.
So welcome back to the game. We've had a change in commentators, and replacing Wes is Wes, the other Wes.
Yeah, and then on that note, there's also going to be David joining the line today to commentate, so nice to be here.
So it looks we're on Vice Rocks here in the 6th end.
Yep.
Scott's calling for a control weight hit.
Coming a little bit outside.
Looks like it was thrown a little bit wide and gets rid of the red but rolls out.
I suppose that's not too bad, though. In the greater scheme of things, like if they keep this open, then there's a better opportunity for them to raise that yellow into the red.
Absolutely, that red is still completely accessible.
So what would you do here, Wes? Would you just guard?
I think so, and I think that's what Sheldon just called.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a wise shot. I mean, currently with them being 5-3, up 2.
Well, looks like guard weight is good, but maybe a little heavy and afraid of overcurling here, maybe.
Looks like it's going to be getting onto that yellow, I'd say. All right, Scott, what are we doing?
Martin is getting his rock ready.
So this is interesting. So I think we're looking at a a raise hit on that red into the yellow, trying to get the yellow shot. It's a little wide, though. I guess we'll really see.
Called for a lower hit weight. Looks like he was calling for a board weight.
Yep.
Let's see what happens here.
Of course. Looking not too bad. It's going to be a little bit wide.
Still removes that red that was in front, which completely opens up the red. That's shot rock. And Sheldon's calling for another guard.
I honestly think this is going to be Kennedy's strategy probably till the end of this end, is just guarding that red until as long as he can.
I would agree. Absolutely.
Yeah. Line doesn't look too bad. But it's really essential to make sure that that guard is really guarding that red. And it's not looking too bad right now. I worry it might be over curling if they continue.
Earlier in the day, we had a lot of difficulty with the rocks curling away from the boards. We're really going hard.
That looks honestly pretty good. It's pretty hard to get at, but there might be a chance of the Disco Draw Daddies getting maybe a hack weight at that yellow.
I was just going to say active board, yeah.
Yeah.
It's accessible.
There is also the red to the left that they could maybe do an in-off on, which is actually what Scott's looking at. Look at that. Wow. Funny how that works, A lot of people think similarly in this game, it seems.
Your powers of prediction are impeccable.
Oh, geez, Wes, you're too kind. But yeah, it's tricky. I think they're struggling on what to choose. I think both shots aren't bad. In terms of a risk perspective, part of me would think going for the hack shot may be wiser. There's maybe less error, considering there is a lot of swing to the ice. But, that in-off is going to be there for a while, and they do have a double available to them. But looks like he's doing just a simple, almost like heavy draw, just to tap it a little back, that red on button, on pin.
Agreed. Tolerance here being, I would say, tight, because if you're a little bit tight and you miss the shot and you clip that red, you're opening up that yellow-red combination again.
Definitely, yeah. Even in the scheme of weight, I would argue that you really want to be on the sort of higher end of weight just to make sure that you do get a little bit of that push. Of course, you don't want to go too far and roll out and just give the opposing team an easy hit and roll. But we'll see where this goes. It looks like there might have been a little bit of a push, and it's a little bit outside, it seems, and Lajoie has pointed that out to his teammate.
See what happens with that curl off the boards.
Yep. Oh, wow, and look at that go. Oh, it's coming in pretty fast, though. Look at that. But it is a little bit down on that weight, so there's really not going to be much push on that red. So it's still sticking on pins, so Kennedy is still looking to probably get a solid rock. But, in this case here, it's perfectly fine with Kennedy having hammer and, just go draw daddies, keeping them to one. That's honestly in their playbook. That's what they would want to do.
Now, for any beginning curlers out there who don't know what tolerance was, I was talking about that. It's if you miss the shot, which way do you want to miss it, right? Do you want to, because if you might want to consider when you're doing a draw behind a guard, maybe taking a little extra broom, because crashing on the guard is not what you want to do, whereas opposed to if you've got good sweepers that can carve it over and you do throw it a little bit outside, then you can still make the shot. So something for beginning curlers to think about, especially beginning skips. What's the tolerance?
Yeah.
Do you want to take a little bit more broom or a little bit less broom based on the shot that you're trying to have made?
Yeah. It's really just the scope of what kind of mistake do you want to make. In an ideal world, we'd want to make all of our shots 100%, but
And in curling, there are good mistakes and bad mistakes.
Very much so. Very much so. So definitely just choosing what side of a mistake we want to make is essential. And that's 100% it. That's on that tolerance.
We've made a few in our day, haven't we?
Oh, we have. Oh, dear gosh, yeah. It looks to me, I'm not certain what's happening here, but it may be a guard, perhaps? Or maybe they're... this is red. Okay, so looking to Kennedy... Are they really trying to get it into the forefoot? Are they trying to be greedy here and even push? I guess greedy is beside the question. They want to get 2 here. That's sort of the goal when you do have hammer, right? So I suppose it's probably to their best interest to really try to get it in, but it seems like they're guarding this at this moment to try and avoid the yellow rays onto that red.
Yep.
But it's definitely going to make them getting to Team Kennedy very difficult.
Oh, they're going to want... no. Does cut off a little bit of the path. Not a lot, but a little bit more.
To me, I think that's still there. I think you could definitely do like a hack weight, but I guess what Scott's looking at is some sort of run back. But with the way that those rocks are lined up, I don't see any run back possible.
If that yellow-red or red-yellow combo on the front is, if they're completely glued to each other, we might get some drag on that.
Yeah, there we go.
There might be a little bit of drag on that red-yellow at the front, but they're still talking about it.
Yeah, that's tricky. There's definitely no red hit on the left side of the view. But there might be something there with the red-yellow, but it's tight. To me, I think the safer shot would probably be just going at it with sort of board weight and trying to come at it from the outside in.
Depends what the Disco Daddies are trying to do. Are they trying to hold them to 1, or are they really looking at a steal opportunity here?
Yes. I mean, in this case here, what would be ideal for them is to really put the pressure on and try and get them shot 1-2, and the only way that they're going to do that is by getting rid of the red on that pin. And I guess this is where they're they look like they're going to go for the draw. There's even a small part of me that thinks they could do a double here by doubling those 2 reds on the 8-foot and on pin.
It's there.
It's there. It's not even. It is a little bit tight, but I think it's definitely within their capability. And I think this draw, it is possible, but it's going to be hard for them to come at it with enough weight to really push that red rock far enough away where they're really going to put the pressure. Of course, their shooter will do something there, and they will probably put it on some pressure in that sense. But it's really kind of like crystal precision that they need to have here in this moment.
Sweeping's been called. Off again.
There's still lots of room, though. Looks like they may even do the little bit of a rub off the red at this point, and that might be... Oh, no. Just passing by. Part of me thinks they should have relied on that double. Honestly, looking back to it, maybe in retrospect, it's kind of mean to mention, but the double was maybe their best shot at really putting on some pressure. But now there might be a really good opportunity for Kennedy to maybe get a solid 2. I don't think 3 is in the.
I don't think 3's in the cards.
It's possible for for the situation here, but definitely if they get full 4-foot, I think there's, without a question, they are able to get 2 here if they deliver on that.
Follow that same path that Scott just followed to try and get to the 4-foot, full 4 button.
Very much so. They could even rely on their red and maybe do a rub on that rock to get it nice and centered onto the 4-foot if need be.
Absolutely. There are opportunities here. There are options.
Very much so. So again, thank you for joining us, folks. Again, it's David and Wes on the mics. Nice to be here. So sweeping has been called. It looks to be pretty dang close considering they're on and off. but it's looking like it's coming down.
The weight's coming off, and it's really curling hard.
Yeah, and it seemed they lost it. Yeah. So that's going to be one for Kennedy as they close out the 6th end.
Kennedy up by 3, 6-3 over the Disco Draw Daddies.
Alrighty, folks. So that means going into the 7th, we have the Disco Draw Daddies with Hammer. And if they convert accordingly, that means that Kennedy will have the Hammer going home in the 8th.
Now, we're not sure where our previous commentators left you with the updates on the other sheets. On sheet 3, we currently have Newell playing Ethan McAleer, and after 6 ends, Ethan is up 6-2, and they're currently playing the 7th, with Team Newell having last rock. On the feature sheet, Scott's thrown his guard up for Team Kennedy. Very good centerline guard.
Yep. Alright, so it looks like the Disco Daddies are looking to call a corner guard. Very standard strategy in the scope of this game.
Sheet 1, we have Darren McEwen playing Matthew Laforge. And again, after 6 ends, it's Team McEwen up 6-3. They're currently playing the 7th.
All right, so another good, very useful corner guard here for the Disco Draw Daddies. This is going to give them a lot to work with when it comes to the different sorts of draws and aggressive moves they may take to get some rocks in the house. Considering they are down 3, they're very much going to look forward to trying to be aggressive on those calls, right?
Agreed.
So it looks here like Team Kennedy is returning with just a draw to the house, trying to get in towards center while they have that position to do so. It doesn't look too bad at this point. It seems to be a nice sort of gentle decline to the stone.
Looks a little bit too heavy and a little bit of overcurl.
It's a little bit of overcurl as it pops out to the other side, so that's definitely something that the Disco Draw Daddies can fall onto and potentially attack after. And already it seems like the Disco Draw Daddies are actually calling a hit. To me, in this circumstance, Wes, I would definitely make the more aggressive call and make the draw, especially if they're down 3 with this current score of 6-3. I feel if you are in this position, you definitely want to get more points if possible. And, you know, just converting and getting those 2 points isn't the most ideal circumstance, especially with their game only having 2 ends left. So they really need to take action sooner rather than later.
Agreed. This 7th end is key for the Disco Draw Daddies, and they really have to turn something in here.
Yeah. It seems like this shot is a little bit down weight.
And curling hard, and
just managed to get by. Well done. And now actually sits quite nicely. So, you know,
shot made.
A shot made. You know, we might have to bite our tongues a little bit. So now they have a rock in the house just above pin, but making that aggressive call is going to set the precedence for Team Kennedy to just follow suit and try tackling it again and trying to take out that rock.
And I'm sure Sheldon has already thought about, can I give up 1 here? Can I give up 2 here?
Very much so.
What am I comfortable with in this end?
I mean, if I were in this situation, I would be very comfortable even with giving up probably 2. Especially going home with hammer is such a powerful tool to ensure a win.
Absolutely.
So looking to this circumstance here, It seems like Team Kennedy is just trying to follow onto that rock and maybe freeze onto it. Nice gentle throw.
Curling in nicely.
Not too shabby. It's not frozen, it's not ideal. But in this circumstance, it does actually cause a little bit of a headache for the disco draw daddies. Now that playable, scoreable area is a lot smaller. You're looking at now maybe a whole 3-foot diameter section across that pin that is really scoreable for the triple Ds. And it's definitely making a lot of pressure in this moment for the disco draw daddies.
And as they're contemplating the shot, we'd just like to share with you that we actually enjoyed a wonderful evening with Emma Miskew just a little while ago, hosted by Robbie Tremblay, and a wonderful Q&A with Emma, talking about all of her recent experiences, her career actually, since she started curling at 5 years of age.
All right, so sweeping was already called. So, and even Scott is coming into the ranks to help with this rock, but it seems like the stone is already on the guard and may be crashing. And this is definitely a tricky circumstance for the disco draw daddies, because now they're trying to chase a really small scoring center, and
that 4 foot is now double guarded.
Is double guarded, exactly, Wes. So it seems like Kennedy is calling some sort of hack hit on that yellow. Part of me honestly might even have guarded that and maybe even forced the disco draw daddies to 1. You know, if you can even ensure a steal, or not even a steal, but a transfer of a hammer through only 1 point, that's quite astounding.
Force is a very acceptable result here.
Yeah.
So James Rice has thrown his stone, starting to curl. Sweepers are on it hard. Are they able to pick out that yellow rock?
Ooh, and it might just actually do it. Ooh,
oh,
fabulous
beautiful
job.
shot.
Wonderful. And so now this is set a really dangerous precedent. Now Scott is in a situation where he has really no stones in the house and is forced to play a rather defensive game where he's forcing to do all these takeouts to get control of center. And, you know, he has really no other material to play with out on the wings. And now his guard that he set up earlier in this game is not really being used. Hopefully it's going to get used later, but we'll really see how that pans out.
Draws curling hard. Just got past the red guard, and
ooh. See, to me, this is dangerous. So even though they managed to squeeze by that guard, now Team Kennedy has a real nice, easy hit and roll to get buried.
Absolutely.
And
that yellow is completely open.
And this is kind of the dangers of a very defensive game. It kind of sets this precedent that is kind of hard to escape once you kind of start. And again, with the kind of lack of material that the triple Ds are dealing with, it's going to be hard to cut back at this point.
So Bruce Gowdy is throwing a hack weight hit at this yellow.
Yep, it's a very reasonable shot. It's a nice level of control that you can have when you do deliver sort of a lower weight takeout hit, like a hack hit. And it seems like they're delivering just on that.
Right on the nose.
Beautifully.
Doubled out their own red in the back, but I don't have a problem with that. Rocks in front of the house are much better than rocks in the back of the house for the red team right now for Kennedy.
Yeah, now the disco draw daddies have a tough decision ahead of them. If they try to do that double, they're likely going to jam that red rock that they're going to hit onto their back yellow that just got moved into that position. And though they may get buried, it may not be as ideal. And here it seems like they're they're kind of questioning a call. Maybe just drawing in may be better. But, yeah, it seems just like a simple draw is what's called at this point. Maybe they'll action that takeout maybe a little bit later, but we'll see where this rock lands.
Just took the guard.
Unfortunate. I mean, to me, it's not the worst thing to open up that center a little bit more. They really do need access to it, and at least now they have some other shots in the house. But
Totally opens up an opportunity for Team Kennedy to completely control the forfeit zone.
very much so. And it seems that's the call that Kennedy is calling. They're looking to guard that avenue to get into the house, and that's really going to kind of cement their lead here in this end as they have 2 rocks counting without hammer, might I add as well.
Absolutely.
So for those of you that may be new to curling or that are not familiar, the goal of the team with hammer is always to score at least 2 points to convert on that advantage, while the team that doesn't have hammer is to try and keep the other team down to only 1. And if you can steal as the team without hammer, that's even better. And it seems Kennedy is on track to doing that right now in the 7th end.
Quick update for everybody from sheet 1. They finished the 7th end. And it looks like Team LaForge picked up 2. So now McEwen is leading Team LaForge 6-5. Playing the last end now with McEwen up by 1 with last rock.
So what's happening here, Wes? Does it look like they're doing a hit and roll here? I don't know.
Absolutely. It looks like the way that Scott's communicating with Martin in the other end.
Yeah, it looks like they're definitely playing with that idea. They definitely do need to deal with those 2 rocks in the center to get any sort of tangible chance at scoring here.
And something unfortunate from the Triple D's previous shot is when they tick that guard, they actually tick the guard over far enough to block the raise that the Disco Draw Daddies previously had with the Yellowstone they have in front. That is now completely blocked.
So it looks like a pretty high-powered takeout, but maybe a little bit wide.
It looks a little wide.
I may be going right into their yellows in this circumstance, which may cause a little bit of challenges here. I suppose that's not the worst resolution in the scheme of things. They did lose their back yellow that they had on that 8-foot back there, but at least now there's nothing to jam against if they do want to sort of action some of those takeouts. Here it's not a bad situation for the Disco Draw Daddies having that yellow frozen to the red, but that was truly a chance encounter, I think.
Absolutely. Throwing the hit wide like that is probably one of the best outcomes they could have hoped for.
I think so as well. Yeah, I agree. So it looks like Kennedy is just going to be taking a nice simple guard shot, kind of solidify their lead here. They're still, I think, counting 2 in this circumstance. So, I mean, I think that's probably the wisest shot to make.
Absolutely.
It's looking not too bad here. All that Kennedy really needs to do is block that path that they've been relying on this game. As you know, having it high like that isn't the worst situation, I suppose. It's maybe a little bit out from center more than I would like, but it definitely makes that path less accessible than it was previously, and that definitely does give some headaches to the Disco Draw Daddies.
To your triple Ds.
To the triple Ds, exactly.
And that's game on sheet 3 with Team McAleer winning over Team Newell.
Yeah, this is quite desperate for the Disco Draw Daddies here. It looks like they're trying to do some sort of angle raise on their corner guard that they made so long ago to try and get access to that red. And the path is there, but angle raises are very finicky. If you give a moment of hesitation when it comes to the sweeping and lose that rock to maybe an inch of curl, you could just completely lose the shot altogether. Looks to me that they maybe are throwing up a higher weight, maybe like a control takeout, it seems, to try and really propel that rock into that red in the house. So let's see how Scott delivers on this shot.
No sweeping yet. Darren's on it now.
Looks like it's already over curled and is balanced out to a straight head-on hit.
Nose hit.
Yeah. What they really needed to do is they needed to hit it probably a good 3 inches to the right to really get the angles correct. Even hitting it a little bit more outside would have benefited them probably greater, because it really would have propelled that rock in, maybe even higher house, sure, but it would have maybe set something in there to play with later for their last shot.
So if I'm not mistaken, it looks like Kennedy is called for a draw through the 2 yellows.
That's
on
cool.
the right-hand side to block that angle raise that Team Disco Draw Daddies just tried.
That's an aggressive call, Wes.
That's very aggressive.
That's very aggressive. See, to me, they're already winning this end.
Absolutely.
And like, I would think the safer shot would be to sort of block that port, maybe with a guard, but trying to go in for a draw like that may just provide a really hit or takeout for
I would be throwing a guard on that shot that the Triple D's just attempted by throwing you have to come at the outturn side, but you can definitely put a guard up there and block that shot. Intern side, pardon me.
To me, that looks very inside. So sweeping almost immediately called. I would try and really prioritize that, a little hit and roll, maybe off some guards.
A plan B is needed here.
Yeah, very much so. It looks like it's just going to resolve to the greater mass of guards on center line, it seems. The classic wall. So this is tough for Scott, for the Disco Draw Daddies. This is tricky, and so it looks like they're going to try for the same shot again. Try for that maybe angle raise, or maybe even one that's a little bit straighter on that yellow to the right. It may be tricky. It seems like they're a little bit off center, and there may be some overlap, so they might actually deal with some rubbing action there. Looks to me that Scott's going to be calling some pretty heavy weight here to really give such little broom. not looking too bad. Maybe it's a little bit outside, if anything, but it's not too shabby. Ooh, fabulous shot.
Oh, and
well
makes the
done.
shot for one.
Well done. The Disco Draw Daddies taking one in the 7th end as we go now into the 8th. 6-4 in favor of Kennedy.
And Kennedy will have the last rock coming home.
Yeah, with a bonus of 2 points to boot. And that's not nothing to sneeze at, Wes.
No. 2-point lead with, that's a beautiful position to be in.
It's just with the way that swung, we need to basically be on it as soon as the boat try to get past.
So calling for the center line guard, and Scott is rushing out to assist with the sweeping as they're really playing with 3 players tonight. So
Yeah, it seems the ice really is slowing down too.
Sheldon calling for a draw in behind that, and a very aggressive call. But when you've got that 2-point lead with,
I mean, why
a
not?
safe call.
Why not at that point, really?
Absolutely.
I mean, especially if there are 2, actually not. I don't know why they got 2 from that last end. I thought it was only 1 point for the Disco Draw Daddies, but especially with a 2-point lead, I would definitely make the aggressive play and just go crazy and get some more rocks in house.
Let's just put some red rocks in the house.
Yeah, very much so. And it seems they're managing too, fairly easily. They're getting a shot nicely placed on the 4-foot.
Beautiful shot by Scott behind cover.
Yeah. So is Scott calling here just a draw behind that red? Is he really just doing that? Or what would you do here, Wes? Would you do another guard? Especially if they're down 2, I definitely think there would be some element of trying to guard up so that they can have some level of advantage.
Looks like he's called the freeze on the red that's in the house.
Yeah. Oh, and again, seems the ice is slowing down a fair bit from what they're used to. There's a good level of aid happening here.
So they end up with a second guard in the zone 3 position.
That's not honestly bad to me at all. I think that's to their benefit, especially if they're coming home now in their final end, down 2. I think it's honestly to their benefit that they have at least some sort of cover to play with.
Absolutely, but they've got to find a way to get at that red shot stone.
Oh, of course. Of course
And
they
it
do.
looks like Sheldon's asked Scott, his lead, to put another one right in there.
Yeah. I mean, there is definitely some stuff to play here. There's always sort of like some sort of hack hit. Of course, if there is something a little bit more open, they could do some sort of hit and raise or hit and roll over. There's lots of sort of options here early on in this end, but it looks like those two are going to be nicely frozen to each other.
2 beautiful shots by the lead.
So it looks like Scott is calling for another freeze onto that top red. Not too shabby.
Update on sheet A, it looks like we have a tie. They're going to an extra end on sheet A. That's Team McEwen versus Team Laflorge.
So this rock's not looking too bad. Scott is kind of helping along, but they might actually have a really nice freeze here. Maybe just a little short. Yeah, a little short in this circumstance, but something workable, I think. You know, they have at least some sort of priority up at the top of the house. And, oh, wow. Looks like Kennedy's going to be taking out some guards, and I think that's definitely the play here.
I think so, too.
I think that's really smart. Considering they're up 2 points, making a really clean defensive game at this point is probably the best direction that you want to take. If you can really minimize the amount of sort of things that the opponent or the opposing team can play with, I think you take advantage of it. This looks like it's just going to clear the top guard. There's going to be some nice rolling action, so it's going to be clearing out the house. Very textbook, very good. I can see Scott's thinking face. It's very, very focused. Jeez. And this is tough. This is tricky. So because he wants to try and steal 2 here, but he still needs to deal with those 2 red rocks that was placed really beautifully by Team Kennedy's lead. And it seems like they're calling another freeze here to at least have some agency with this very defensive approach to Kennedy in this final end.
That's where they've got to find some access to the forefoot, and right now it's
Very
not looking
much so.
good for them. So a corner freeze would give them access to those red rocks.
All right, I suppose this is not the worst thing to deal with, but the issue here is they have set up a beautiful double on those guards.
Absolutely, they have.
You know, like that's kind of scary, man. Like I would be very afraid at this moment if Kennedy's second has a pretty decent sort of takeout. They could be in a real pickle here, the Disco Draw Daddies, if they have really no material to hide around.
So James Rice getting in the hack, ready to throw his hit.
Looks pretty decent. A very clean delivery by the
Second.
looks of things. But it may be a little bit outside. There may have been some
inside-out action on that.
yeah. Oh, wow. That I suppose is a rather much of a boon to the Disco Draw Daddies. Definitely giving you a little bit more availability to that stone.
Definitely a break for the Triple Ds.
Yeah. And here, yeah, I think Scott has it really settled out. I think freezing is really the good call here. And this will give him at least a chance to deal with that stone a little bit later if he has his yellow rock accessible. But he has to get in that position first, I will say.
If he doesn't make this quarter freeze perfectly, then Sheldon Kennedy will have the ability to do something about control of the forefoot zone.
Looking too bad, but
not laying a broom to it yet.
no, it maybe seems to be coming in pretty hard. There is a good amount of give to this ice, it seems, but it looks like they're going to be just crashing onto their yellow instead. But
Splitting off their yellows.
yeah, not as ideal for sure. And so Kennedy again taking on this sort of defensive stance, which is the correct play. If he can kind of eliminate, 7 out of those 8 rocks, that is a guaranteed win, And like now, looking to how many rocks that are in play, there's about 4 here. 1 currently out of play, so he really has to just get rid of 6 more, and he's set. Yeah, it's a good amount, but still not too bad. Okay, so this seems to be just a singular takeout on 1 stone. Barely hitting the side. Nope, not even. Still in play. Wow.
However, with the removal of that guard, it has opened up a path to shot rock
It has.
for Team Triple D.
It is rather tight, but I suppose in this circumstance things are getting a little bit desperate for the Triple Ds.
I think you have to take advantage of that
I
and try and get
definitely think you
through
do.
that tight hole.
Stop. Yeah. And it looks like, it seems that the Triple Ds are calling of a rather low takeout to get into that tight hole, Wes. But they're looking at maybe even like backline weight, which is not a lot of weight. And in this ice, to have such curl and call a shot of such low weight is going to give a little bit of a challenge to the Triple Ds to really control that rock through that avenue to get access to that red rock on forefoot.
And Martin did come up to talk briefly with Scott about it, so they have agreed about the weight and the broom.
Seems so.
We'll see what happens.
Seems so. Maybe they're far more comfortable with this sort of lower weight. There is a certain level of control when you do have a lower takeout weight, which is very nice. Especially once you get to really, really large weights, that influence of your sweeping becomes really lessened.
But with only one sweeper on the ice, as again they are playing only with 3 players for this game.
Yeah, it may be to their benefit to have done a higher weight shot. And this is looking pretty dicey to me. As again, they're having really some issues getting access to that red rock on the forefoot. As slowly the amount of rocks that the Disco Draw Daddies have are dwindling, and we're now back with our final 2 with Scott.
And that red shot rock is triple guarded.
It is.
It's dead buried, and it's hard to see from here, but it looks like there's overlap for those 2 guards that are in the top, just butting the top 8.
Yeah. There may be some sort of raised takeout or raised shot that the Disco Draw Daddies may have here. But if Kennedy just chooses to do some sort of takeout, or part of me even likes a guard here.
Well, that's what he's doing. He's changing strategies, and he's throwing up the guard this time.
And see, to me, I think this is ideal. If they can really kind of junk things up, for lack of a better word, it's going to make it really hard and really inaccessible, that red. And if Scott and the Disco Draw Daddies really wants to get their 2 points, they need to deal with that rock for sure. So it looks here that it's coming in a little bit light, but I suppose that's fine. We do want to guard. I suppose it's really just a question of line at this point.
That's right. It seems to be overcurling from what they wanted, but
doesn't look too bad based on the front view that we can see here. In terms of its position, it seems to be pretty well aligned with the other sort of material that is currently here. But it looks like the Disco Draw Daddies are looking at these angle raises again, Wes.
There's definitely at least one accessible to them.
That's dicey. It's very narrow. I suppose it really depends on how much curl they have that they're playing with. If they're playing with a lot of curl, then maybe they'll have something here. But again, it looks like they're doing a lower sort of weight takeout in terms of weight. They're really not giving a whole lot of room on that broom.
I believe they made a shot like this 2 ends ago in the 6th, where they called a board weight, hack to board weight hit.
If the Disco Draw Daddies make this shot, this could quite literally change the scope of the game. Alrighty, it's looking a little bit wide to me, based on what I can see.
There's that curl off the boards.
But it does come really hard, really fast, and it seems that we're already having some sweeping on this. But the weight's coming down really hard.
Perfectly by that guard, and
not enough weight.
Not enough weight.
Not at all. Now this kind of further cements their predicament, it seems. Not too bad though to have a shot in that spot, but it's definitely going to make the job of the Disco Draw Daddies for their final delivery rather challenging. They're probably going to have to do some sort of angle raise or double raise on that center to really get access to that red, but it may be there, Wes.
It could be there. Now it depends on what, of course, Team Kennedy ends up doing with this shot. They have 2 shots left as opposed to the Triple Ds only having 1 rock left to deliver down the ice.
Yeah, the power of that hammer speaking true once more.
So important. And as a reminder, stand by after the game is completed for some post-game interview with some or all of the members of each of the teams on the ice currently.
Alrighty, Wes. What is Kennedy doing here?
Well, I'm looking at that angle raise that the Triple Ds have to get access at that shot stone.
Yeah, that one on the 12 foot to the right.
And I think, although I'm not sure with the broom that he's taking, that he's trying to guard that raise. Although given how aggressive he was in the last end, I'm not 100% sure what he's trying to do here. Is he trying to come through that hole?
Weight doesn't look too heavy, it seems. So I definitely think it's in the realm of some sort of guard.
It's a guard, yeah.
Yeah.
But if the guard overcurls, then it served absolutely no purpose.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it seems that's going to be the case here. It might be overcurling a smidge, and that angle raise for the Triple Ds may be accessible to them.
It's still
and
there.
They have a chance at really grasping onto the thorns of victory once more. That seems to be what they're looking at. They are looking again once more at this angle raise
And
onto that red, and they're kind of gauging whether or not they have some other competition in terms of...
Scott's looking at all the rocks that are...
To me, it seems like the red is closer on the right, just based on this particular view. But I suppose at this point, really what the main priority is that red on center.
Yeah, Scott was looking at...
So very clearly, you can see here the red that's in the sort of 8 foot is much closer than the sort of yellow on the other side of the sheet.
Right, so it's a shot for 2.
Yeah.
Scott's maybe looking at, is there a way to win this?
Well, I mean, the only shot for Scott that I see here really is some sort of angle raise. He wants 2 here, so there is this sort of triple run back on that red, yellow, Wes. But there is also the angle raise. I don't think the in-off the red is really going to give him anything fruitful. I don't think that's worth playing, but I definitely do see 2 main shots here, and that's sort of the triple raise on all of this sort of center line material, or this angle raise on that yellow in the 12 foot.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's very accessible.
I think the reason why they're considering another shot is the problem with that angle raise that they've looked at for such a long time is that if they don't get the angle right, they could, yes indeed, partially remove or push that red stone back far enough, but they're going to roll off of it and only end up lying 1.
Oh, interesting. So I guess the reason why they're avoiding the red, yellow raise is that because they're staggered in a way that won't actually allow them to do that run back. So Scott here is going to have to move about 5 rocks of material, Wes. This is astounding. This is crazy. It is possible that the way that things are lined up currently, there could be some level of opportunity here, but he's going to have to come at it with a lot of weight, and it looks like that's the case here.
That's a lot of granite. And it looks like it's wide.
Yeah, just barely. It's so tricky, those crazy multi-rock runbacks. The moment you have one slight angle off, that's it.
And it's handshakes. Congratulations to Team Kennedy that will be moving on.
Yeah, so final score then will be Kennedy 7, Disco Daddies 4. Scott just trying out this last shot just to see what would happen.
Just trying to see what might happen had he made the shot.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay, well, we thank you for joining us for Sheet 2 on this draw. Again, Sheldon Kennedy taking the game over the Triple Ds, otherwise known as the Disco Draw Daddies. And stay tuned. We'll have some post-game interviews for you shortly. Yeah, just mark here. Do we have the microphone like last time?
Yes, it's right here on the left, right? I was going to pass it to you, and I got distracted.
Okay. So were you going to do a fun question too, or just talk about how the other team played, and
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
just how they played?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
To keep it short.
Like that? Okay. Okay, so we're here after the game that we just shared with you with Skip of the the Disco Draw Daddies, otherwise known as the Triple Ds, Scott McCamley. Excellent logo. And just, Scott, we're wondering post-game now what you thought of that game. Obviously, it was a hard-fought battle. You were short one curler. You only had 3 on the ice. So just tell us your thoughts about how the game went.
Well, first of all, we're going to give up our team name to the other team because all they did was draw. I don't think they missed a draw or a come around. So we were chasing the whole time. It was a very, very hard-fought game. I think we sort of kept up, but we just couldn't get past all those perfect draws and come arounds. Are always top 4. I'm going to go away just remembering the 1 triple, and that's all I'm going to remember for the whole game. It was a challenge.
I'm sorry I missed that triple because I only came in partway through. But from what I was able to see with David, they were putting a lot of pressure on, so we certainly understand how frustrating that could have been for you.
Yeah, as a skip, when you have to do triple runbacks or double runbacks as your only option, you know their other team is putting the pressure on. It wasn't our best game, but anyway, they curled amazing. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And again, congratulations for your Bonspiel for the weekend, and looking forward to the next game on the ice. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, and we just want to say we hope our missing players feeling better.
Thanks very much. And we'll have for you very shortly someone from Team Kennedy. And we're back with the representative from Team Kennedy. We have the Vice, Bruce Gowdy, with us. And Bruce, I just wanted to ask you, what was that game like for you? It was obvious to all of us who were watching that you were putting a lot of pressure on the opposition in that game. So just going to throw it to you for some general observations about what your team went through.
Yeah, a lot of the focus, Wes, was draw, guard. And that seemed to work well for us, just to keep drawing and guarding. It was, it kept us on our toes, though. They were making their shots. I remember we were sitting 3 in the 5th, and Scott came down and cleaned them out for us at the very end. It was just an amazing shot.
Yeah, Scott can be a very good hitter at times, Scott McCamley. In fact, Scott, you mentioned your draws and the success you had with your draws that game. Scott actually talked about passing their team name on to you because you were definitely the disco draw daddies during that game because it put a lot of pressure on them.
Well, I'm not sure how good we are in the disco, but we'll take the draw one. So we'll take the T-shirt.
Okay, well maybe were you discoing last night at the party last night?
I was not.
Well, listen, we wish you success in your next draw, and we really thank you guys for coming up from Toronto, and best of luck continuing on.
Thanks, Wes, and also the special thanks to the organizing committee. This has been a fantastic spiel so far, so thank you.
Appreciate the compliments to the organizing committee. It's a lot to put on an event like this for 40 teams. So thanks again, and any final words?
Looking forward to tomorrow morning.
As are we, because we're going to be on the ice too at 9 o'clock. So.
Do we play you?
I don't know. Are you in Deary? No, we're in D. We don't play you. Thanks very much, everyone, and we'll have the final draw of this evening for you very shortly. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back to curling action here at the Over the Rainbow Bonspiel. We are the new commentators for this game. This is the Qualifier 5. This is the A quarterfinals, actually. So we have two teams here. We have Team Forget out of Ottawa, and we have Team Wilson out of Halifax. So we're well into first end here. Okay. We have Ed throwing his rocks now. Okay, we have